This channel, we love to run numbers. $1 million made easy. And what we want to do is look at somebody that has $600,000. 600,000. They want to give themselves a 3% COLA when they start withdrawing, and they want to do 3,000 a month. Now it's interesting. I asked this same scenario with AI, artificial intelligence with Copilot. Now notice what I asked. I said I have 600,000 saved. Can I retire if I draw 3,000 a month with a 3% COLA and expect to live 30 years? I want you to notice what they automatically did. They said, certainly, let's analyze. You have 600,000 savings. You plan to withdraw 2,000 a month. I asked for 3,000 a month. They automatically went with the 4% rule. Isn't that interesting? They went with the 4% guideline. They also assumed a 6% in average annual return. And so they ran all those numbers with that, but they also said, keep in mind that market fluctuations can impact your decisions. In other words, you can't just go with this 6%. But I decided to ask AI again. I said, I want to know what 600,000 with 3,000 a month is. So I put it down here, specifically ask in the yellow, I have 600,000. When will I run out of money if I use a 6% withdrawal rate with a 3% COLA? Copilot answered, in about 16 years, but they again said, depending on return fluctuations. How did they come up with the 16 years? How did they come up with these numbers? Well, they're using average return of 6%. They're using a 4% rule. On this channel, we like to look at the actual numbers. So that's what I did in this scenario. 600,000, 3% COLA, 3,000 per month. If they set the rate at 6%, I have it lasting at least 20 years. In fact, let me go down through here. 23 years. 23 years, the money lasts in 6%. I'm not sure why they came up with 16 years. Were they using a different interest rate? But again, they weren't using an average annual return. They were using market fluctuations. But let's go ahead and do market fluctuations. I'm going to reset this. These are the returns for every single year for the last 100 years for the S&P 500. Same scenario. Haven't changed a thing. Just change the returns to what they actually were. And what I want to do is, you can't just look at 1924 because those numbers look good. After 30 years, to have almost $1 million left. But let's run it for every single scenario. Again, this is withdrawing 6%. And that's what I asked AI to do, but they immediately went with the 4% rule. In this case, 12 times in the last 100 years, you would have run out of money after 20 years. Here's the actual graph. Most of those times were during Depression years, 1937, and there was a few around the year 2000, because 2000 was a problematic time too, because of, we've looked at this in other videos, because we had these 3 down years plus the down 37% year. Looks like it survived, would have survived with this scenario in 73, 74. Let me just show you that, 73, 74. Yeah, it dropped down, but it came back. And after 30 years, you'd have 323,000. 1974, you'd have 4.4 because you only had the 1 down year. So when you have 2 down years or more in a row is when it really is problematic. And that's what happened in the year 2000. You had 3 down years, and then this big one down 37. You were just going to run out of money with this scenario taking out 6%. Most of the time, you'd be just fine, except, of course, back in around 1929, we had 4 down years. Beginning in 1930, you had 3 down years. You're still running out of money. 1931, 2 down years. You're still running out of money. You're taking out 6%. And if you have some down years initially, it's called sequence of return risk. That's when you run out of money. But that was curious, the numbers that AI used. AI used automatically, even though I asked for withdrawing 3,000 a month, they automatically went with 2,000 a month, which is 4%. They automatically went with the 4% rule. Why? Because the 4% rule works. Let's show you this 4% rule. Whether you're using the set rate of 6%, your money lasts. If you use the actual S&P 500 returns, your money lasts. Let me update this to show you. It was 12. Now it's 2, that's 1929, 1930, but if you have an asset allocation, which we show this in other videos, you have 60-40 asset allocation, 60% remaining the S&P 500, and you would be just fine. even in 1929. After 30 years, you wouldn't be, but 20 years, you would be. Anyway, I love to run numbers for people. I just thought that was interesting. The AI automatically uh, went back to the 4% rule, even though I asked them to run it at 3,000 a month. Please consider subscribing to this channel. We love to run numbers. We don't want to just look at graphs like this, which show you this. It doesn't tell you exactly how they come up with these numbers. I like to use the actual numbers. Like I said, AI automatically went back to the 4% rule. If you go to the 4% rule, it just plain works almost every time, except over a 30-year period in 1929, 1930. But in every other scenario, it works. I love to run numbers for people. Please subscribe to this channel. Please tell your friends about it. I will run any numbers they want. And thanks for watching.